mention about the mission, talk about the mission, which is to provide support for the complete life cycle of IT-enabled services. And that, as you can appreciate, essentially covers the horizontal dimension of services. So you can see this SIG has been an umbrella SIG that cuts across verticals and interacts with other horizontal SIG, such as the cloud SIG or the analytics. In terms of the view of the world as we present it, we have, if you like, the business view and the IT view. We believe that focus within the SIG that brings innovation, engineering, and quality together is the traditional business to IT alignment that we should all be focusing on maintaining. And that is proven more of a challenge as technologies are coming into play, as business is becoming more competitive, etc. So that's the business to IT alignment on the side. In terms of the key focus areas, as you can appreciate, the SIG brings in innovation, engineering, and quality within a continuous service production and delivery process. That's what we call the life cycle. By the way, I will introduce the team based on the focus areas, because this is the presentation that a lot of people provided input to, and I will be introducing the members, so don't go hiding in the room. So the first key focus area, service innovation, focuses on producing, creating new services or improving existing services. Within the service context, we need to come up with new concepts about innovation, new models, talking about service innovation, as well as design corresponding business models to accommodate this innovation, the new service products, etc. Within service engineering, again, the target, the key focus area of the SIG will be to develop methodologies, tools, standards for designing and implementing service systems, but taking into consideration also things such as the social, cultural aspect. So that's a socio-technical perspective of service systems. And finally, very important part that we often somehow put on the side is service quality, and that brings in the customer very much within the service context. So things such as what is the service value, what is co-creation of service, etc. And here we, within this focus area, we will be looking at standards tools for specifying requirements that are user-centric, that we design services that are user-centric, and we also monitor service over the whole life cycle in terms of their quality aspects. So that's the key focus areas of the SIG. With respect to people contributing framework, and framework is leading the service innovation bit. Martin and KP, maybe you can put your hands up. Martin, KP is not here, yeah? Not yet. The service engineering, and Arjun, and somewhere. Anyway, we will introduce the members later on. I don't know how we can organize this a bit better. Now, within each one of the focus areas, we have identified, based on weekly and bi-weekly meetings and under the strong guidance of Chris, key focus within each one of the areas to identify research themes, research topics. So this is an overview of the research topics within service innovation, and that relates both to process innovation, so how organizations manage innovation as a process, what mechanisms they have for the, for example, for monitoring these service innovation processes, what product innovation mechanisms they have, and with respect to IT, how the new IT technologies affect their innovation processes. So a number of research topics within the service innovation theme, such as new and improved business models, new and improved business processes, and new and improved IT services. We went one step further and we defined even more detailed research topics on the basis of each one of these key focus areas. I don't know if we can if we have time to go through all of this in detail, but for example, for each one of the focus areas, we've identified a number of things that we should be looking at. For example, under process innovation, we should be looking at, and that's not strictly speaking within the SIG, but also in collaboration with other SIGs, service ecosystems, how systems work together in tandem. So presumably we can assume that everything is one big, large service ecosystem. Self-service processes, very important part of the process innovation when we assume that the customer will be part of the business process. Co-creation, essentially also focusing on how customers, but also other parts of our supply chain help us co-create value, etc. So for each one of these areas, we identified plus the overall service innovation management that looks at how the innovation processes are managed within organizations. So that brings all aspects of innovation together, product, process, and technology. For example, it might be for SRII that one of the key focus areas could be open innovation, for example. That might be relevant to things like the health, for example. For me, that's something that should come out of the discussions today, but also over the next 3 or 4 days, areas that cut across the different 6 chapters and bring these areas into focus. For example, our deliverables for the short term could be focusing on this. So that's a brief overview of the service innovation. We did similarly for the other 2 areas. Now, engineering, well, with respect to the traditional view of engineering, looking at service processes in organizations, mapping them to the corresponding IT infrastructure and architecture, and then focusing on the continuous business to IT alignment. So the traditional service engineering perspective. Not so much focusing on the, if you like, the aspects of the system that relate to the customer. Within service engineering, we also identified a number of more specific research areas. What is important to take here is the different things that contribute, the different perspectives that contribute to our, could contribute to our approach in doing research in service engineering. So looking, for example, at the things that have been going on in traditional industrial sectors, industrial engineering, manufacturing, electrical engineering, etc. The software engineering input, that's the computer science IT perspective. Taking into consideration systems theory and systems thinking, because services are essentially systems that could be looked at both from an engineering point of view, but also from a systems point of view, socio-technical. That fits into the kind of the socio-technical type of approaches. And looking also specifically at how systems should be designed to take this socio-technical dimension, make it more explicit, so socio-technical design approaches. So I won't go into detail on all of this. These all relate to topics that could be, or research areas that could be looked at in more detail. One of these perspectives, for example, explores a lot that is very popular within the service software engineering community, to look at the model-driven approaches. That's something also that we can address within SRII. Now, with respect to service quality, essentially the focus will be on the customer end, how customers perceive quality. That's a very important area, as you can imagine, within services. Specifically within service quality, we, as a group, we have identified a number of areas that we should be focusing on. The front stage, so how customers perceive the service, the client experience. The back stage, how quality contributes to the delivery of the service, as well as converting, linking the back stage to the front stage. What are the quality aspects of taking a process and providing the corresponding service. And as you can see on the side here, analytics and optimization, that's from IBM, and I should provide this slide. Analytics and optimization is a big part of it, because obviously in order to be able to improve quality or talk about quality, you need to have a continuous process of monitoring the different aspects and bringing in front any issues that you need to deal with. So that's a clear overlap or talking point with the intelligence services guys. And so that's within each one of the stages, we have identified even more detailed topics. So for example, for the front stage, how do you measure quality from the client perspective? What is service value and what it means to co-create services that is involving the customer or the client within the service process. What is loyalty? What do we mean by growth and profitability, and how these two, or all of these aspects could be combined. And finally, things such as expectation and perception. What does it mean? How do you have what is the balance between, or the relationship between expectation and perception of services? And as I said, we identified specific topics in each one of these. And as I said also before, there are certain things that relate to the other SIGs. As well as this type of issues could be applied, as you can imagine, to specific sectors like health or the cloud. Now, we also looked at deliverables, and this is our incomplete list, and Chris was trying to push us with to be more and more specific. We did our best, but I'm sure it's not good enough, and hopefully at the end of the conference we'll have very concrete deliverables to report on. What we would like to do, for example, is to have a research roadmap similar to what the other SIGs were reporting. Future research needs, based on what we talk about here from the SIG point of view, as well as our discussions. We plan to do a dissemination a workshop in September, in 2011, this September, in collaboration, well, before or after the Cambridge Service Week in UK.